Hello, and welcome to the Unspoken Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Sherron Colgram, and I'm excited that you came to the office today. If you are new here, welcome. Welcome to the silent community. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also, you can also listen to us anytime on your favorite podcast streaming platform. Today, we have an extra special guest. I'm excited she's here today with us. We are thrilled to have she's a true community advocate and leader. She is currently the vice president of the Family Support Services at Square One in Springfield, Massachusetts, where she works tirelessly to ensure that families have access to the resources and support they need to thrive. Today, we'll be diving deep into her incredible journey from being an intern to vice president, her dedication to education and community service, and also how she balances all of this while staying true to herself. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to my friend, my sister, Melissa Blissett.
Hey, thank you for having me here.
Thank you for coming. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Today is usually one of my days to just rest. And I'm glad I'm able to just take a little bit of time to myself and actually to catch up with you. It's been a while.
Yes. I know. I know. I always kind of just go missing for a while. And so people be like, where's Sherron at? I'm like, sometimes I need to just focus. So when I go into the zone, nobody could find me. Then I come out and be like, hey, I pop out and then I go back into hiding. So, but I'm glad to have you here. I want you to share with everyone, your journey with medicine, because I've seen you develop and you're just such an inspiration to me. And so I wanted people to hear your story and kind of talk about what you have been seeing on, I'd say kind of the outside of medicine. I'm on the inside, but I just definitely wanted to see your perspective of what's happening. So I give you the floor. Kind of just tell us, what has your journey with medicine been?
All right. So, just a little bit of background about what I do at Square One. So I am the vice president of family services at Square One, where we provide services to children and families of all backgrounds. At Square One, I oversee around 7 different programs, programs providing support to maternal health, parenting programs, parents who are in long-term recovery from or newly in their recovery from opiate addiction, as well as other stimulants. We also provide support to children who are impacted by lead and have lead poison in their system. And we'll talk about that later, but there are a lot of old homes in our community in the Western Mass area. So children are impacted by lead. So one of the things we do is we make sure we educate families on what lead is, where it might be coming from, and providing them the necessary resources to get the lead out. And then we also provide services to youth who are just looking for either employment, a second chance of getting a high school equivalency degree, but also we provide them resources as well as health resources as well. So at Square One, we always do an intake. And in our intake, we try to figure out what are the family's needs. And most times their needs are that they're experiencing health disparities. And that includes either the lack of resources in when it comes to medical care, either no health insurance, depending on if they're newly immigrant families. We also provide education to mothers when it comes to maternal child health. So I am part of a maternal child health commission or committee, and it's through the Springfield Department of Health and Human Services, where a bunch of organizations and leaders in the community, such as doctors, nurses, early intervention services, family support services, injury prevention services, we all get together once a month to talk about what are the health disparities and what could we do to support our families in the most reasonable and equitable way.
I wanted to go back to Square One because, did Square One always start with giving all of these services? What did you guys originally start from and in terms of how it's grown?
or I can give you a little history. So it was started as Springfield Day Nursery. We started in 1883, so that's about 142 years ago,
Mhm.
where Merriam-Webster, which is the dictionary, Webster Dictionary is the daughter of Webster Dictionaries, founded Square One,
Wow.
where she wanted to um, started supporting other women with like doing house chores, but had children. So they would all take turns and say, I'll watch your kids while you go out and do laundry or run errands. And they would all take turns, and then eventually became Springfield Day Nursery, where they opened up a small daycare. And then
Yeah.
over the years, um, it became larger from starting very small. Now we provide services so we have preschool, home-based childcare, after-school programs. So it's called out-of-school care. So we also have summer camps after school for school-age children as well. But in 2011, um, we changed the name to Square One, or Start at Square One. The previous CEO, she she is a licensed independent social worker and wanted to provide resources not only just to children but to families as well. In order for families to thrive, you need to provide the whole system support.
Yeah.
So that's where the Family Support Services and Joni Beck Brewer, who was the previous vice president of Family Services, jumped on and created and implemented a lot of these programs. It started out with the Healthy Families, which is the largest. Springfield has the largest team in Massachusetts, where we provide services to over 300 children. Now we've expanded to other programs, providing support to families in recovery. We also have parents as teachers. So we provide services to over 1,500 families. And our previous president and CEOs who thought this was something that was needed, along with Joni Beck, our previous vice president, who said, I'm on board. Let's work together and provide the support needed for all families in the community.
Yeah, that's amazing because I feel like, it said 2011. I think for me, that's like just recent, we
Mhm.
saw this as, what, okay, let's move this more past just daycare. Let's
Mhm.
kind of also look at the parents, you know what I mean? I guess, to
Yeah.
me, I would say the parents are the child's first teacher. So we need to
Mhm.
somehow educate the child while they're with us, but the child needs to be educated at home. So let's teach the parents. Let's, get them, I guess, to kind of be their best selves, I would say,
Let's go
and
into
and support them through the definitely like the first few years of their, child's life.
Right, right. And it also stems, like, again, the parents are the child's first teacher. It starts in the home. Early literacy when it comes to healthcare, when it comes
Hmm.
to safety, when it comes to just the minimal care for your children, families need to know and have access to those resources. So it's really nice to learn about what resources are needed for our families, and then find ways to implement it, which also means we have to find funding for it. But again, when you see there is a need in the community, it has been really difficult to find those resources and I should say, financial resources to provide those supports.
Gotcha. So how are you guys currently funded?
So we're funded all over. So we're state funded, federally
Okay.
funded. We're funded through DPH, through the substance. It's called SOR. So it's the State Opioid Response. mm, Um, the Maternal Child Health Initiative is another
Mhm.
one. So again, there's federal funding, there's state funding, private funding. Again, there are a lot of bids or requests for proposals that comes out. And what we do is we'll see, like, okay, if there is this need in the community, we should then apply for these funds and implement a program. And there's these strict benchmarks that you have to um, succeed at in order to continue with the program. So that means documentation. That means, again, providing the necessary resources, teaching, and also serving the families, making sure that we are providing the services that they need.
And usually these are kind of like grants that you're getting, that you're like signing up for or applying for.
Yeah, um, and I don't want to call it. Yeah, some of them are grants. Most of them, I should say, are grant funded. Um, and again, but they're either state grants and federal grants. And then they're about 6 to 7 years over time. So within the span of 6 years, we'll get accredited to continue the services. But again, it depends on how well we do. And we have succeeded over the past few years, and they trust that we are doing the programs well. They see that we're doing it based on our documentation, and then we also have our staff are just great. Our retention rate is very high. Like, our staff stay in the services because they love what they're doing in the community.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I know people are concerned, especially with the political climate that we're in now in terms of
Mhm.
funding, getting from the federal government. Where are you guys currently, like in your cycle? Are you guys in the middle where you guys don't really have to worry about that? Or like, people that are getting these services from you, I'm sure they're concerned about, okay, am I still going to get this childcare for my
Mhm.
family?
Well, thank God we haven't heard any news yet.
Mhm.
From our funders, they're also having open communication about us, open communication to us about the federal funding and how and if it's impacted by Square One and other programs around the community. And we've been blessed to have success with it. We haven't heard anything negative about any funds being removed from our programs. And if you
That's
think
good.
about the amount of years of being like reaccredited for renewal, we are in the beginning of the stages for the new. Okay, I think we're out of year 6 or 7. We're like in year 2 of getting recontracted again. So I think we're safe for now. Again, you never know what happens the next day, but right now, all good news that we are still up and running for all of our programs, including our early education and care department.
Oh, that's good to hear. Because I know there's, so many people that are going through different things. So in terms of the demographics you serve, how do these people find you? Like, how do you get connected? Is that through the hospital connection? Like, how does that
Yeah,
work?
so many ways. One of the things that we do is we actually have our staff. It's like mandatory that they do outreach, so we have them doing outreach in the community all the time, including myself, whether I try to build connections with other organizations. We all attend outreach events in the community, and we actually host resource events in the community. We just had one about a few months ago, where we did a resource fair where we invited pretty much any and everybody at the Tower Square to come and provide resources and promote their agency. And we did as well. And it was really nice how we were able to get an influx of resources or referrals from the community. But majority of our referrals comes from the hospitals, community partners that we have. Again, we have a lot of amazing community partners. And we have a referral system. So anytime anyone hears about, based on our requirements for the program, they'll say, hey, Square One has an amazing program that fits your needs. Um, Please, if you're interested, reach out to, we have an intake and outreach coordinator. But we also have this new platform that's called 413 Cares. It's fairly new, but it's amazing platform. It's like the 413 of Google. So what you
Mhm.
do is you type in 413 Cares, and you put in your zip code, and you actually write down and you type in the services that you need, whether it's recovery support, diapers that you need,
Wow.
homelessness, how, yes, everything. So it literally grabs everything that the families are looking for, and then
Mhm.
all of the agency comes up, and then they have a contact information that they can contact, or they can just do it right online saying, I'm interested in receiving emergency diapers. We will get an email that says someone is looking for services, and
Mhm.
then we will contact them and make that connection.
And it's called 413 Cares, but do they have to have a 413 area code?
Right now, it is just a 413 area code service. So all of
Okay.
the services in the 413 area.
Now, is Square One connected to, like, is it like kind of a branch of Square Ones, or
We are,
are there other?
yep,
Uh-huh.
we are its own entity. So Square One is our own nonprofit agency, um, where um, we have a plethora of programs, but we collaborate and partner with other programs. So, like, for example, with our early education and care department, we are now collaborating with Educare, which is a framework. It's right in the center of Springfield, where they have infant and toddler all the way to preschool. So we're using their framework to say, yes, you can be in a classroom setting as an infant and toddler, because usually preschool starts at 2.9 and up. But this framework that Educare has is, okay, let's get them ready for kindergarten at infants and toddlers. So you can be 3 to 5 months old in a classroom setting.
Wow.
So no more than two infants, and then we have toddlers. And then we have the necessary staff in the room. So it's nice that we get to go in the classrooms and cuddle with the babies and hold them, but we're teaching them and preparing them for early literacy, and again preparing them for kindergarten. And the goal is that they stay in this framework, this education, again until they graduate. So it'll be the same amount of kids in this building. So Square One has partnered up with not only with Educare, but with the Springfield Public Schools. So this is very small. This is very new. This started actually in September. So we're excited to see
Oh,
how
wow.
this works. Mhm.
Wow,
Beautiful
that sounds
building,
awesome.
beautiful staff. And we also have um, like a director of supportive services. So right in the building, if families need access to resources, there is
Mhm.
someone there to provide them that support, as well as clinical support.
Where do you guys see yourselves going in the next, I would say, I don't know, I can say 1 to 5 years, because you just started this new program that you've added on. Um, do you guys see yourself expanding in other parts of the state, or, networking and building that way, building across state lines? Like, my brain just like exploded with everything you were saying. And I'm like, I think you guys can do this like all over.
Yeah, we can. So we are very excited. We're in the process of, or I should say, ending of our capital campaign.
Hmm.
We are in the process of Square One campus right in the heart of Springfield, downtown Springfield.
Wow.
So we have a brand new building that's built. So back in 2011, in our old original um, Square One grounds, it was impacted by a tornado. Our building had vanished. It was done. I mean, we ended up renting out space just a few blocks up. That's where we've been. We sold that land. We ended up selling the land. We didn't really have any plans to getting our own yet. It was just, we actually loved the space that we were in, that we are renting right now. It's beautiful. It had 2 floors. It met our needs. And
Yeah.
then as we started thinking, we wanted to expand more. We wanted to expand and provide more services to more families, but also have more classrooms as well. We also have a building on King Street, which is our main building. We have lots of classrooms. We have an intervention room. We have clinicians, lots of staff, lots of kids in our building that we own in Springfield, right off Springfield College campus. We also have another after school program in the East Forest Park area, where we do have 2 or 3 after school classrooms in there as well. It's right in a church, actually.
Hmm.
Um, and now we are expanding to four new classrooms. And the 4 classrooms in the brand new building is going to have more children. We also are going to offer overnight care. So there's going to be showers and tubs in there. So kids who need to stay, because we have a lot of residents in Springfield, such as like MGM. We have Focus Spring. We have lots. We have Bay State. We have Mercy Hospital, who works second and third shift, that need
Gotcha.
access to child. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to provide them that support. So we will have second and third shift childcare in this brand new building. Um, while we were building this building and, talking about a capital campaign, we have already outgrown the space. In
Wow.
my family services department, we have done such a great job with providing resources to our youth. We had expanded to serving over 100 youth in one program, and then we just got a new program that now we're serving about 150 youth. So we're now needing bigger space, and there is a building in front of our brand new building. It's a building that needs to be renovated, and I'm just so blessed. The Belize family, donated $1 million for this
Wow.
new building, but they also bought the renovated building for us because they know that we're doing great work and they
Yeah.
believe in our work, they trust our work, and they're like, we need to have this big, huge campus for you all to, again, expand your horizons on the services that you're providing.
So you also have local private donors that are also
Yeah.
funding you guys as well.
Yep. So Mass Mutual Foundation is one of them, Belize, and we have a lot of others to name that have been donating so graciously.
Wow. So you guys are doing a lot of things, but what would you say right now would be your biggest challenge in terms of serving the communities that you need right now?
Our biggest challenge right now, so I would say there's two challenges right now because again, square one, we wish we could do everything. Like families come in and they're like, I want this particular resources. And although we have the partners and the collaborate and we network with so many people, sometimes we're also stuck. Like, yes, we have the service, but we don't have enough of the service.
Mm.
So two things that we have surveyed families within the last year and a half, and two things that families are having challenges with are housing, the housing crisis.
Mhm.
So access to housing, access to transportation. A lot of families are, especially if you have young and infants and toddlers, it's really difficult to go on a bus and go on different routes, especially if you have a car seat. It's difficult. You have a lot of families who are experiencing so many challenges and need to access the resources in order to care for their child, but are stuck because they're like, I can't get to this place. I can't get to the doctors. I can't get to my 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 son's or daughter's school meeting or IEP meetings, occupational therapy meetings. Like I can't get to it because I don't have um the transportation for my family. So within the last year, we've had a small grant, and we were able to just try something out to see if it worked. And what we did was with this small grant, we're going to use it for um, an Uber service. So we connected with, um, actually not Uber, sorry, Lyft. So we connected with Lyft. We opened up a business account. They were really great with giving us and accessing, like giving us the training we needed in order to get families to where they needed to get to and get back home. So we hired a transition support specialist where she was able to connect families um, and access to service to recovery support services, NA meetings, AA meetings, children's school meetings, doctor's appointments, whatever the family's needs were, we were able
Yeah.
to provide them transportation. Unfortunately, that contract ended so abruptly. It was just from like May to December. But again, we're constantly looking to see if we can find more funding so we can get the transportation. And housing crisis has been at an all-time high for the last couple years for our residents in Springfield. We have a lot of families who either can't get into Section 8, and sometimes when they do have Section 8, they still can't find a stable and safe housing for their family. So one of the things we've done, again, we survey families on what are your needs are when it comes to housing. So again, what we're doing is we're looking for funding so we can get a housing specialist or housing coordinator to specifically support families in accessing housing. So Again, those are like my two main challenges, but again, it's a goal that we're trying to accomplish by the end of the year.
I wanted to talk about also a particular marginalized community, those that deal with mental health under the substance abuse category. Tell me the impact that service has made. I can imagine, but if you had an example of a family that the services that you guys provided affected their family and their outcomes.
Yeah, so for Square One, we provide service. We serve about 60 families who are in recovery from opiate addiction and other stimulants. But the reason why our numbers are at 60 is because they have done the percentage, and we have other partners that also have the same, they do recovery support. So like BHN, so Behavioral Health Network, CHD, we have base that also provides supports, recovery supports to families. This particular program is specifically for parents who have children between 0 and 5 years old. So if you're
Okay.
0 and 5 and you're in active recovery, or if you're in active recovery, we would provide that support. The wonderful thing about this program, it is a peer-led program. So my
Mhm.
staff also are in long-term recovery.
Mhm.
So it's one of those, if I did it as a parent, you can do it as well. So they provide them that support, but they also respect their way of their choice of recovery. So their
Sure.
recovery choice journey might be a little different, but again, the goal is to support their journey in recovery. Some of the challenges that they're facing right now is there have been removals of their children because
Mm.
of um, they're either relapse or during, or they may have had sometimes when they take their tests, it comes out positive, maybe even during delivery. So they would have to do removals. But the amazing thing is that we do a lot of advocacy where you'll see over time the consistency of the supports that they're getting, that there are reunifications. So we just had a reunification just about 2 weeks ago. It was really great.
Mhm.
Mom is back in full-term recovery. She has her children back. And she's going to get the continued support she needs to stay on her journey. But unfortunately, we do have some cases where families are like, I can't do it. It's really difficult. So what we do is we provide them housing. There are some recovery housing, so we connect with them so that they can, again, fulfill their goals of staying in recovery by staying in those housing while their child is in care, or either in Department of Children and Family Services, while the families are getting access to their recovery supports. But for the most part, a lot of our families graduate from the program. Some of them end up becoming employees, not only at Square One or even in other agencies as well. And they end up becoming recovery coaches as well, which is great. It's wonderful to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see because I see it from the inside, right? I take care of the mom, we deliver them. We know they have all these social issues that can happen. And then we're just sending them off and we're like, Lord, hopefully they do fine. But I think it's great to hear that there's someone on the outside that had these families in mind and
Mhm.
scoop them up, understanding, that we're throwing them back out to where they were in that environment. But you're there to support them, but then also you're empowering them to, change their lives.
Yeah. But I think it really does make a big difference when you have lived experiences um, to support those families, because again, they have lived in their shoes.
Yeah.
I can't say that I've been someone in recovery, and if someone says like you don't know how it feels, I would say I don't know how it feels. So
Hmm.
I don't know if that would be a gap of support because I've never been in their shoes. But again, we have those staff that again are in long-term recovery and had lots of challenges. Some of them had removals. Some of them had family members, immediate family members who have died from overdose, and can share that story and to say, I don't want you in that same boat. I'm here to
Yeah.
support you. And they do. The amazing thing about this program also is we allow during work hours, if our staff has access to their recovery, their own coach, or they can also attend their NA or AA meeting during work hours. That's part of the job, is that you need to take care of yourself. in order to
Yeah.
take care of others. So it's fine that they can do it during work hours. And we also have a clinician as a staff member to provide our recovery staff weekly supervision so they can, again, get that access to supports at all time.
Wow. I mean, that sounds amazing. Like, from you started as an intern there and now you're the vice president. I mean, did you see Square One becoming this impactful in Springfield? Like, what were your thoughts? I mean, did you imagine this?
No, I didn't, but I'm not surprised
Mm-hmm.
because, like, I mean, Square One is a force. Like, it's one of those things like, oh, we see it, we're going to get it.
Yeah.
When I started out as an intern, and you know what, I can say the reason why I say I'm not surprised is because when I was just an intern, my role was just there was like a homelessness committee that they
Mm-hmm.
had where different providers would come in and meet about twice a month to talk about how to support families who needs access to housing. And what
Yeah.
they did was they were able to get a lot of these hotels and use them as housing. So they would meet and talk about the different hotels that are being utilized, what are services. My goal was to see if we could do like how to do healthy cooking class in a hotel room by using a microwave. Like my goal was also to take notes.
Yeah.
But maybe like 2 weeks in after 2 weeks after being an intern, there was like an opportunity that came up. They were doing a brand new program. We got funding to do a supervised visitation program and
Uh-huh.
a domestic violence support. And I was like, I might as well like apply for this position. It is part-time. I'm in grad school at the same time. I think I could handle it. And I did apply for it and I interviewed. And what was really amazing and funny, it was Joni Beck Bureau, who was the vice president of family services. And she asked me, she said, what is your 5-year goal? And I was jokingly said, to be in your position. And she's like, she called and said, you never know. That could happen one day. And look where I am. I'm the vice president
Uh-huh.
of family services. Like, it's so amazing. And we talk about
Hey.
it every time I see her, she'd be like, I remember that day when you were in my office and, you jokingly said that you were going to take my position one day and you really haven't. I'm so proud of you.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, we've had I would say out of the 7 programs we when I started, we only had about,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was 3, and then it started increasing to other services. Our current president and CEO, her name is Dawn Stefano.
Mm-hmm.
She had came from the YWCA. And
Mm.
she was a grant writer and she wrote a lot of grants for some of the programs that we actually have now. So
Mm-hmm.
I thank her for the amazing grant writing that she does, um, the amazing support that she's given. And she again saw the need in the community. And with her expertise and her experience working at the YWCA, she thought that these services were needed in our community as well.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. Where do you think that confidence that you have comes from? Because I can feel it just from you talking, but were you always like this? Did you always have this confidence in yourself that whatever I touch is going to be successful?
No, no, nope. Imposter syndrome is real. I'm not gonna lie. I've always wanted to have confidence in a lot of
Yes.
things in my life, as a
Yeah.
parent, as a wife, as a friend. And, there's always that what if or am I good enough, right? But
Yes.
when it comes to the things that I love, and again, I love all of the roles I have, but this is
Yeah.
just like a calling from God. Like God told me that this is my purpose. And
Yeah.
my purpose is, you know, doing his work by serving our community. And there's days where I don't feel like I am going to work. I feel like I am just living my purpose, God's purpose.
Mm.
So I think that's where the confidence comes from because I know what families need. I'm
Yeah.
very intuitive to the needs of the community. and I'm always reading, I'm always studying, I'm always attending a lot of these like community initiatives so that I am
Mm-hmm.
better prepared to provide that support, but also know the knowledge of the community as well.
Yeah. So when you said you knew what your purpose was, or you found your purpose, did you always have that purpose? Like, where were you? Because for me, I knew that very young that I wanted to help people. I didn't know how I wanted to help people, but I knew I wanted to help people. I feel like I'm still coming into that purpose. Like, I know it, but I'm not there at the end. You know what I mean? So where did you where did God start talking to you about, okay, girl, this is what I need you to do?
Yeah, so I think it started when I had transitioned from, I went to Oakwood as a biology major and transitioned to UMass Lowell. I didn't have a
Mm-hmm.
biology major, but I wanted something that was as close as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I went to UMass Lowell to study exercise physiology. And I'm like, well, I'm not really delivering babies because I wanted to be an OBGYN at first. And I'm like, I'm not sure this is what I really want to do. I was just questioning, like, is this something for me?
Yeah.
I wanted to take a step further, like, okay, if I'm doing physical therapy, exercise physiology, I can see clients more often. I can see when
Mm-hmm.
they come in broken, if they have some pain in their leg or a broken arm, and I
Wait,
work.
so Lisa, a jump from OBGYN to exercise physiology. How did you do that? Like, what was the thought process?
Okay, so growing up, I wanted to be OBGYN. I wanted to deliver
Yeah.
babies. Nevus was something that I've always wanted, especially when holding my little brother. I was just like,
Yes.
I want to deliver babies. I thought that was
Yeah.
amazing. I was in so many groups in high school to prepare me to be an OBGYN. And I thought that's what I wanted. Um, and of course, when you're in your freshman year in college, you don't really get to see or do anything much. They're all just studies and biology, anatomy and physiology, the math, the science, the English. You're doing the basics.
Yeah.
Although I did fairly well in school, I still wasn't sure, like, is this what I really want to do?
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 more years in college. Like, do I really want to deliver babies? And
Yeah.
what I came to the conclusion is that once I deliver a baby, that's it. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
it. I didn't see any aftermath, no follow up, no checking in. I can't do home visiting. I can't check on the mom. I can't check on the family. And I felt like I
Mm-hmm.
don't think this is for me. And I was just like, you know what? I just I'm not gonna do it. But I'm gonna
Yeah.
try something that's, even though exercise physiology, physical therapy was different, I feel like it was still in the medical field.
Gotcha.
So when I went to UMass Lowell, and that's why I picked UMass Lowell. I picked UMass Lowell because they had an exercise physiology program. And um, as when I was doing the program, I actually took one class that was called Dynamics of Interpersonal Relations. And I was just like, ooh, this seems cool. This seems pretty cool. And it was really
Mm-hmm.
it was an amazing course because what we had to do is we really had to learn the thoughts, emotions, and behaviors of each other in the classroom. And I was just like, so like the first day of class, it was like, okay, everybody's in the room, get your pen and paper. And I want you to literally just write your thoughts about everybody.
Yeah.
Like, look at their emotions, look at their behaviors. And I'm like, oh, this is weird. This is like, and then afterwards I was writing, I had wrote everyone. It was like around 20 students in the classroom. And I wrote 19 thoughts about everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Me being positive, I'm writing, oh, this person looks nice. Oh, they're dressed well, things like that. But when it came to me, they were like, this girl is intimidating. She has a resting bee face. Oh, she dresses really nice. She seems very smart.
Uh-huh.
So you got the different dynamics of
Mm-hmm.
personalities all in one without even getting to know me. And I
Mm.
thought that was really interesting. So from the beginning of the semester to the end of semester, our goals was really to do a lot of interviewing each other to really get to know who we really were.
Yeah.
And over time, I learned a lot of um my classmates, like, trauma, their successes, their challenges, their privileges, their
Mm-hmm.
um It was pretty much everything. I got to know everything. And every time we met with someone, we had to write everything down. So by the end of the semester, we had a book about each other. And
Yeah.
I was able to keep the book. So at the end of the semester, if my name was at the top, I would keep it. It would be a book about me from the beginning to end and how people perceive me. Some people said
Wow.
I'm shy or I'm not confident enough. Like you're very empathetic. You are so passionate about your work and helping people. You want to make people
Mhm.
smile. You are a great listener, and I'm like, oh, like this is great. I was so like obsessed by this book that people created of me. And then I also
Yeah.
asked, like, oh, can I read your book? So we all got to spend time with each other, even after semester, start reading each other's book because we really want to think and learn about thoughts, emotions, and behaviors.
Yeah.
And it was nice because people told some truths about them and some of the
Mhm.
traumas that they face, how they overcame some of those traumas, how they're in therapy, some of the resources that they were accessing on campus. And again, no one knew. So I think that is how social work came. They didn't have social work on campus. So I graduated with a dual degree in
Can you
psychology.
define can you define what social work is? Because I feel like a lot of people hear the word social work, but I feel like it's such multifaceted in terms of everything that it encompasses. So, in your answer, explain kind of what the social work means.
Social work is so broad.
Mm-hmm.
Social work is, I should say, to be of service,
Okay.
um, to be of service in all capacities, in all
Mm-hmm.
walks and backgrounds. But with the theories, but with knowing the theories behind the practice that you're doing. Social work is so broad. You can do a lot of things with social work. You can work as an adjustment counselor in a school. You can work in a hospital, in a psychiatric ward, or you can work in the hospital in the front, just getting them accustomed, asking them questions, doing intake. You can
Mm-hmm.
work in a social service agencies. You can work in a law firm and supporting families who need access to resources when their child is being removed and need legal support as well. You can work in the jails. You can pretty much work in the Veterans Affair. Like you can do so much. This is why I love social work because I could one day say, you know what, I want to work in the school system, and I actually can because I have the degree and certification to do the work behind it. But social work is more knowing the theories behind thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and the practice in itself.
And then how is that different from psychology? Because you said you did a dual degree in social work and psychology.
So no, so I had a dual degree. My undergrad is a dual degree in psychology and developmental disabilities,
Okay.
and my bachelor's. But then I
Okay.
went on to get my master's in social work.
Yeah.
So psychology is really the study of behavior. And
Mm-hmm.
with like a bachelor's of psychology, you're not technically a social work, but you can work in agencies that provide services to people. You can.
Exactly.
But there's a lot of credentials that you would need in order to
Mm-hmm.
be an actual social worker.
Gotcha. So, like a social worker will kind of be the next step up.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then how did the developmental disability degree you said?
Hmm.
Why did you
Yes.
pick that one as well?
So actually, during that same year, I was in the summer, I went back home and worked for a company called Abilities Unlimited. It was an agency working with people with developmental disabilities. And that's when I determined working with families that had and need access to resources who were impacted by developmental disabilities, um, kind of brought me to want to provide them support. So they have the Department of Developmental Disability, it was called DDS at the time. And I was able to get access to working in the office and seeing how paperwork and insurance worked with families who had
Yeah.
developmental disabilities. And then I actually worked it was a day center for adults who had developmental disabilities as well. So I was able to help and help make meals and lunches. And then when I went back to UMass Lowell, I think it was summer of 2004, I declared the dual degree.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mhm.
So then did you go straight into your master's?
No, not at all. So I graduated in 2006. I started back into like 2008. I ended up moving to Philadelphia for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I actually went to Temple,
Mm-hmm.
and started my master's of social work degree, but ended up getting really sick. That's when I found out I was pregnant with my daughter and
Mm-hmm.
decided like I needed to put this on hold.
Yep.
Um, Years later, I moved back to Springfield in 2013. That's when I reapplied for the Master's of Social Work program at Springfield College and did the full-time 2-year program and graduated in 2015.
Perfect. Tell me some of the misconceptions of the social work field.
Um, the misconception the number one is, when you're in the social work, you don't get paid. Like they pay very, very low. That's one. And again, it all depends on your credentials. It all depends on your experiences. Um, Another misconception is that all social workers do is take children away from families. That's not
Mm.
what we do. We don't.
Mm-hmm.
Our goal is to keep families together and
Mm-hmm.
provide the access and resources that they need to keep the family together.
Tell me some lessons that you learned from life, not necessarily from your parents, that you learned from life versus what your parents taught you just going through this whole process.
I think in general, there's a quote that states, never lose sight of, never forget where you came from, but never lose sight
Mm-hmm.
of where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Honestly, I think my parents taught me that, like,
Mm-hmm.
this is where you come from. You come from the Jamaican heritage. You come
Mm-hmm.
from a Christian home. Like, never forget that.
Mm-hmm.
But never lose sight of where you're going, because they always instilled in me that number one, keep God first, family second, and you got to take care of yourself. And one of the things that my dad always did growing up, he's always read to us. Like he read every morning, whether it's devotionals or he was singing. He taught me that make sure your family stays connected. Every Sunday we have a Zoom meeting with our whole family from Jamaica to Massachusetts, and we all get together. We just, talk and we pray and we, keep each other updated on how life is going.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say, that's what I pretty much took away from my family. But when it comes to my values, I think we have different values. You know, I've been married to my husband for I think it's been 17, 18 years. Been together for 25 years this year. And we've
Mm-hmm.
created our own culture, and we have our own values in our own home.
Yeah.
It could be something simple as like growing up, we never really ate together as a family, but and in our home, we eat together. Like
Mm-hmm.
we eat together no matter what. Dinner is a time where we, talk about the good, the bad, and ugly of our day and how we're going to move forward and have a better day the next day, or talk about and we share jokes. So sometimes we just have fun activities while we're eating, but we just want to make sure that every day we end our day together. Um, and then, I have, you, it's a little touchy subject, but, I grew up in the church, and, me and you, we've grown up in church. We were in the choir together. We were
Mm-hmm.
cheerleaders. We did so much things together.
Yeah.
That was stemming from my father. My father and my mother, had us going to church every weekend, and again, the experience was amazing, something that I would cherish forever.
Mm-hmm.
But times have changed a little bit, where I'm not as involved in the church as I used to, where
Mm-hmm.
now my values and um has changed. That means my children's values have changed on, you know, the church setting.
Yeah.
So we have to create our own so that we still keep Christ in the center of our home, and we still have to worship together, but it's different from how we worship when we were young.
When you're young. No, absolutely. And I've already said on this podcast in terms of the people that have made such an impact on my life, like, and I talk about it's the Uncle Harrises, the Aunt Patsies. I mean, they took care of us. Like, she would feed us. Uncle Horace and Pastor Kurt would drive us to school. We grew up, like I said, always. I think it was community, was family. Just okay, everybody's gonna be at choir rehearsal. I'm going to choir rehearsal. Everybody's doing the drama. I'm gonna be in the drama. You know what I mean? So like we never wanted to not be together. I think that definitely has an impact in terms of us going to private school, in undergraduate and therefore in graduate school. I think that that was instilled in us. But I agree with you that I definitely I see church is different, as you can say, like, going to church is different. I think we've remained Christian because we were raised that way, so we understand being like Christ. And I think
Yes.
we've implemented that in terms of our professional careers and how we treat people. But I think the actual location and setting, just based on who is currently there, how they currently treat people, especially, like I said, even like, as I told you, how I felt how your father has been treated based on all the years of service he's had there. I felt like he was disrespected. I also feel we also don't treat our youth how we were treated. You know what I mean? Like people cared about us. Like they made sure we had food to eat. They made sure we was clothes. They make sure like we had a ride to go places. All the social service things that you're saying that you were doing, like that was me. Do you know what I mean? So I understand like what you're saying, but I feel like I don't think we care to know what our youth are going it through. And the fact that they want to come to church, they want to participate, and sometimes that has been thrown in their face. And I think for us, we can separate God and who God is, and we know what he is and what he means to us. We can separate that from the people that supposedly are supposed to represent him. So I just think it's a hard time right now in the world for people that don't understand that. People that are supposed to represent Christ, they call themselves Christians, but they are not being Christ-like. And I don't know. What has your dad told you? Any advice he's given?
No, not really. We haven't really talked in depth about that, but one of the
Yeah.
things, and we talked about this many times
Yeah.
with I have talked with him and then even other members of the church who I trust. Mental health is a taboo in certain cultures and in Black
Yeah.
cultures and Hispanic cultures. Like it's a
Mhm.
taboo, so nobody really talks about it. So one of the things that we have done over the course, so I would say the year and a half, is like,
Mhm.
okay, if we show them, maybe they'll understand. I remember us doing it was a drama series called Screaming in Silence, and it was
Mhm.
series of different ways people scream in silence or
Mhm.
suffering in silence.
Mhm.
And what we did was we all wore Black and we had different background instrumental music, and we acted out different scenes of trauma people in the church are actually going through. Like
Mm.
was either domestic violence, opioid addiction, marriages falling apart, people who are just, suffering from depression or other mental health challenges. There were so many different scenes that we enacted, and we at the end saying, someone in this church is suffering, and this is how we as youth would like for our church members to, instead of saying, where have you been? Why you haven't been here? Hey, is
Mhm.
everything going on? Can we pray for each other? We
Right.
don't see that. We feel like you guys don't care. And if you see that we're not in church, it's more of like, oh, they're out in the word. I was like, no, we could be suffering from something.
Absolutely.
We could be going through a traumatic experience. We don't know how to come to you because you don't give us that access to you. So we have done that. Honestly, we haven't seen a change. I
Mhm.
remember, I will never forget. I have asked at one point and asked if we can have a licensed mental health counselor to come and do a group, and was voted no. And it was like free of charge. This person is a Christian, not from the church, but is a Christian. And she wanted to utilize a church. Like, I want to host and provide free services with my license in mental health counseling to do
Yeah.
a group. And it was shut down. So, this is why I feel like there are especially a lot of youth, again, who's going through a lot of, challenges, who don't feel that the church is supporting them or even care because, we feel like we're getting shut down all the time,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Has the person that you were talking about, has she given those services at other church institutions?
Yeah. So, and contacting another church.
Okay.
And they're open arms and doing that. So that was really nice. And she continues to do a lot of stuff in the community,
Yeah.
providing free services to youth and adults that are going through, some hard times,
Yeah.
or even
And
preventative measures.
yeah, I just feel like, because we're talking about it, and even though it might not happen at this location on this block, maybe we can still, because we're busy people, but we still have to, I think for us, I think it's our responsibility to reach out and make sure, our youth are getting it, even if it's at another church. And I feel like not all churches under our denomination are the same, because I've visited other places and we don't get the same treatment. I think there's bad apples in every denomination or what have you. But I think we shouldn't allow that to limit us, because sometimes I feel like I just want to turn it off. But I mean, just having the conversation with you now just has me thinking that we probably should do more.
Yeah. And one of the things, so I want to say that even though I haven't like been at like any church services or anything for a very long
Yeah.
time, I still, me and your sister Patrice, Sheena, and Dietrich, we still all get together every 2 weeks, and we still go into the downstairs auditorium and still have choir rehearsal. We just sing, even though we have no intention of singing either in services. That we still, and again, we do this because a lot of the youth still need singing. They need church. They need us to support them. So we didn't want to feel like, okay, because this is how we feel, we want to just stop everything. So we
Yeah.
continue to, still engage with our youth by, getting together either at one of our homes. My mother and father reached out, invited all the youth not too long ago at their house, and had an amazing social, a pool table. We played games. We played back in the played some of our old games. This is a knife or what? Like it was.
Oh my gosh.
It was
That's good.
lots of fun, and I want to say like all the youth
Mm-hmm.
was so great, and they were like, we got to do this more. We have to do this more.
Yeah.
My parents are like, and how my parents are growing up, they were like, yes, their door was always open, and
Yep.
they were like, it's still the same. It's nothing has changed.
Yeah. No, that's good
Yeah.
to know. That's good to know.
Mhm.
All right, let's get to some positive things. All right. So, what are your personal favorite activities to get that just natural dopamine release? You know what I mean? You're a very busy woman, so you have a lot of responsibilities. You're a wife, you're a mom, you're executive, but you also have to take care of yourself. How do you balance all that, and what do you do to take care of yourself?
I do a few things. So I do go to the gym 5 days a week, with
Mm-hmm.
one of my longtime friends. Actually, went to church with Tasha, who went to Tashi,
Yeah.
went to Shiloh as well. So we are very consistent in going to the gym, and we keep each other motivated. We are each other's accountability partners. So we go to the gym and 5 days a week, which kind of helps us throughout the day. It helps us kind of talk and share our thoughts about our work and how like we want to move forward in life as well. So it's great. Um, recently went to like a 6 transformational leadership retreat out in
Mm-hmm.
Kripalu in the Berkshires. It was like
Mm-hmm.
it's something like I can't really speak too much of because it was just good.
Yes.
But it was amazing where I was able to really work on myself and work on my purpose and work on making sure that I am the Melissa that I want to be, the wife that I want to be, the mom that I want to be, the community leader that I want to be. Because at some points it gets lonely, sometimes it gets hard. It's hard to
Mm-hmm.
balance everything. And sometimes I get to a point where I'm like, I shut down. Like I shut down and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know if I can do it. So this
Mm-hmm.
was a nice opportunity to talk to other um, this was like a cohort of other CEOs and vice presidents who we shared ideas on how do we navigate this world and balance everything and try
Yeah.
to be one within ourselves. And it was nice that we were able to get to do yoga and sound healing, and I was able to get facials and
Mm-hmm.
massage. It was beautiful. And it's
Yeah.
nice because I did this experience that they invited me to go pretty much every year for 5 days that I can just go and relax and have silent breakfasts and and just take care of me. Amazing. Um, I also started going to like yoga. On some Sundays I go out in Newington, Connecticut, which is pretty far, but it's well
I was just
worth
about
it.
to say Newington, girl.
It's about 45 minutes away, but it's worth it. I go. I don't
Yes.
go often, but
Yeah.
I do go to that. And I love to just like go out, like sometimes go out with my friend, go out to eat, go out to dinner. I love to go on vacation. So I go on like a trip with my friends once a year so that we can
Mhm.
just have a good time and just, take care of me. And then I love hanging out with my family. My husband, we do date nights. Our kids, we do things together. I feel like I do a lot to take care of myself. I
Yes.
really do. And I'm
Yeah.
proud of myself to do that because I am a person that practice what I preach. That is literally what I do at work. I because I'm on a senior leadership team. That means I
Hmm.
oversee a lot of people.
Yes.
And one of the things I do in my supervision, we do something that's called reflective supervision. Is I always ask, "What did you do to take care of yourself for the last week?" Because this work is really hard.
Yes.
So sometimes they'll
Oh,
ask
I
me,
like that. Wait, stop. Wait. Say that again. Say that one more time.
yes. So we have this that's called reflective supervision.
Yes.
Reflective supervision is a didactic philosophy to keep in touch with your staff every so often. Like it has to be a regular pattern. So you're seeing your supervisee, like maybe it's every week for an hour or bi-weekly for every 2 hours, but you're constantly keeping contact with your supervisee to do a check-in. You're first checking in on them. How are you doing? What did you do for the last week to take care of yourself? How did you balance that? Especially being a mom or a wife or a father, if you have kids and you're doing this work. This work is hard, right? We
Hmm.
sometimes go through vicarious trauma with some of the work that we do. So you have to check in on your staff to make sure that they're okay. And then you're also now doing some processing about the work that you're doing with your families. Sometimes or your supervisees might be stuck like, oh, I'm having a challenge with this family or with this child, like let's brainstorm and work together on making sure that they're getting their needs met. But
Yeah.
also reflective supervision meaning that our supervisees are also modeling that with their families. So you're
Mm.
doing the same thing with their families. Hey, has it been for a parent within the last week? What did you do to take care of yourself? All
Hmm.
right, what are some, things or challenges that you're going on that we could work together on? Oh, did you call that resource? Oh, let's do it together. So we
Hmm.
do a lot of reflective modeling supervision so that our staff can also do the same thing with the families.
I love it. I mean, it is amazing. I think I need to bring this back to labor and delivery. I think every labor and delivery unit should do this because the work that we do is hard. And I think that's one of the main issues in terms of culture because I can just imagine the culture that is at Square One, but how life changing will it be? Especially because I've been on multiple labor and delivery units working with them that they thought that their managers cared. Not that, great, thank you for doing the work, you know what I mean? Just to say it But to actually mean it, we would have to figure out some way how to do it because we got probably a lot more, staff. But I think some model of that, I think, should be done, especially in these very high pressured, intense jobs, workplaces.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
you deal with some serious stuff on your side. I deal definitely with some
Yeah.
serious stuff on my side. So I like that.
Yeah,
I
it's
like that.
amazing. And we've also implemented, actually, we implemented this during the pandemic. We have something that's called Wellness Wednesdays. I host a management meeting like bi-weekly, and we
Mm-hmm.
started off on a Monday. And one of the things that we do is we talk about our staff, like what are some challenges that they're facing? What are some things? And a lot of our staff say, as much as we have these conversations about, oh, what did you do to take care of yourself? Sometimes it's really hard. They're like, I can't. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have time in my day to really do it. As much as I try to be very creative, it's difficult. So, it's a great opportunity for us to brainstorm and like, okay, what are they saying? So we'll jot down like, oh, this one person said they wish they did spin class. Another one says they just want to make a smoothie to eat healthier.
Mm-hmm.
Someone says, oh, they wish they could just walk at the local forest park and walk 3 miles. So what we did was we implemented Wellness Wednesday. And
Mm-hmm.
what we do is once a month on a Wednesday, and this is during work hours, we will definitely implement one of those, dreams that they
Mm-hmm.
have to take care of themselves. So we've done things like, oh, everybody next Wednesday, bring water, we'll have water for you, bring some regular clothes from between 1 and 3 o'clock. We're going to go to Forest Park and we're going to walk 3 miles. We also were able to do sound healing. We did journaling. We also, our vice president of development and communication, she's a spin instructor. So she was able to collaborate with the local wide MCA and
Yeah.
said, hey, can we use your spin classroom for the next 4 Wednesdays? And I'm going to do free spin class with the staff at Square One. And we were able to do that. We were able to sign up and do it during working hours. So on top of doing these reflective supervision, we listen, we take notes, and we try to figure out how can we implement that in the workday.
Yeah, that sounds great. All right. I want to talk about what is our silent prescription for today. Every episode, I do a silent prescription, meaning what are the takeaways that someone can get from just our talk today for our conversation. There's a lot of things. I had jotted down a few things already, but I'm going to give you the floor to give the first one, what you think is a great takeaway from our conversation.
Number one, to literally take care of yourself. Like it's really important.
Mm,
I feel like no matter work you decide you want to do or are doing,
yeah.
in order to do your best work, you have to take care of yourselves and try to figure out what that is and stick to
Mm-hmm.
it. Gym is something that I stick to. I might try yoga and it's 3 weeks. I might say, this is not for me, but exercising or going to the gym at 4:30 in the morning is something that I regularly do and I stick to
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we all should do is try to figure out what are we doing to take care of ourselves. Number two is as a leader, really feel like you should take care of your staff in order for them to do great work.
Mm,
And that means doing those regular check-ins and supervisions and processing and asking them. Is sometimes it's just asking them makes them feel like you really care, right? Like
mm,
what did you do to take care of yourself? And again, exploring ways you guys can support them in that.
mm-hmm.
Um Another takeaway is making sure that you have time to balance your family and work too, because sometimes that could be a challenge. But family comes first. Like family comes first. You want to make sure that you set a time with them and share about the amazing day that you have, or having dinner together, or doing activities together so they can have those amazing memories.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least is that although we have grown up in the church, you can create your own church. You can create your own worship with your family or your community, or finding, people who have the necessary tools to keep you invested and engaged in your relationship with Christ. Oh, and last but not least, my favorite quote is never forget where you came from, but never lose sight of where you're going.
Yes. Girl, you was looking at my paper? How you wrote down everything that I had here, girl? You pretty much said everything. Everything that I said. Yes, literally everything. I think the other thing that I love that you guys have, because I'm thinking of other communities that are going to be looking at what you're doing at Square One. What are you doing for the people in your community that need the help, that no one's coming to look for, but you guys are going out to find them and help them, asking them, what are your needs? You're taking a problem that somebody has and you're trying to create a solution. And so I think right now that's what's necessary. So everything that you said, we definitely need to do on an individual level, on a family level. But then I think as a community, we need to start helping ourselves. And so that 413 cares, like, I think that's like amazing plug. That's something where anybody can get online. You got a phone, you got a computer, you can put in your information and find what community services or local things are available. If you are somebody that's working in the community, if you work in a hospital, just go look at 413cares.com, right? 413cares.com. Look at it. Look at the website. Look and see what we're doing. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Because clearly it's working. And just take that and use that for every area code.
I'm sorry, it's actually 413cares.org.
Oh, sorry. 413cares.org. 413cares.org. Okay, yes. I'm going to put it there so everyone can see it. Okay. I always end with every guest. Ask 2 questions. If you had $1 million to change medicine, what would you do? And if you had $1 billion to change the world, what would you do?
If I had just a lot of things that I could do.
You like me.
To be honest, I actually, if I had, you said how many million?
I mean, listen, that's just the basics, but you could,
that's not a lot.
When I first thought about it, I was like, yeah, because I can't even do $1 million. Like, I need a few, because I got a lot of stuff I need to do.
Right. But one of the things that actually, it's a dream of mine. One day, maybe it'll happen. I don't know. Maybe I could just implement it and say, hey, somebody do it.
Yeah.
But I would love, and I mentioned this to actually my cousin Diana, who works in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a dream that I had. And it was a dream that we had access to the same resources that we provide at Square One, like the family support resources that we provide at Square is in the hospital. So when you come, you have a person to say, hey, I'm going to visit you at your house for the next 3 to 5 years. You have automatic access to those resources as a parent, no matter what age your child is.
Okay.
You have opioid crisis going on in the hospital, that you have a recovery coach that automatically assigned to provide those resources. As soon as you walk out that door, someone is assigned to you. And then you have youth. You have youth who are facing trauma, who are going through hardships. We have foster care. We have gun violence. We have domestic violence, and our youth are suffering.
Yes.
We'll have like a youth coordinator to say, oh, you're in the hospital because of this issue, but I'm here to help you. I'm going to be your mentor, and I'm going to provide you the adequate services you need to flourish and grow as a person. But also, know they have this already, but I would love to expand the hospital's work development so that people come in looking for jobs, and they make the skills that we provide the skills, but then also provide them the opportunity for jobs, as we know that there are staffing crises as well.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that sounds good. Okay, so is that medicine and the world, or is that just medicine? Did you just mix it all in? We just put all the money together in one pot. We just put it in all in the one pot. No, because I like that. Yeah.
Like the world just needs.
We need it. Absolutely.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Very cool. Thank you so much for sharing with us and, giving us your unspoken medicine. I mean, These are definite prescriptions that I think we all should take. I took a whole bunch of notes. So I'm really excited about like everything. I'm about to go right to work and be like, hey, so we're doing this reflective supervision. So I think we should do a little bit of this because we stressed out. Like we're really stressed out.
Yes.
But
We have been like training, like that's one of my goals is to train professionals on reflective supervision. I have been doing that internally, and then I've been doing like workshops on
yeah,
reflective supervision and what that is. So, if they ever want me to do a little
consultations,
consultation,
absolutely.
yeah,
Girl, I get you a little change. I put your name in there. All right, so thank you everybody for joining in today. If you got something from this conversation that I had with my sister, Melissa Blissett, who is the vice president of Square One in Springfield, Massachusetts, definitely give us a like, share down the comments. Just let us know how you're feeling. Let us know what you're going to bring back to work and what you're going to implement in your own life. As I like to say at the end of each episode, today and every day, let our actions speak to the good medicine that lives inside of us. Be well and be blessed. See you next time.